everybody, my name is Fletcher and welcome to my men's lifestyle channel. So this is going to be the first video of many. Essentially what it's going to be, it's almost like a guide on how to attain the perfect, what I would consider the perfect male life. And so I'm essentially going to run you through in this video all of the factors and aspects of your life that you need to improve to be able to attain that perfect male life. You don't necessarily need to do them in any particular order. However, I believe that without all of these aspects being on point, you've got room for improvement. So obviously I have not achieved all of these yet myself. I'd say I've built a decent foundation for most of them. Some of them I'm further ahead than others. Yeah, so I've been learning about this men's lifestyle industry for maybe, it's 2024, maybe 4 years now. And so I've accumulated a wealth of knowledge in that time, and I just love to be able to, I love to help others and teach other people things that I've learned myself. So I'd love to be able to pass that knowledge onto you and onto a community and through the platforms, through social media platforms, because I believe that one of the most important ways to find fulfillment in life is through teaching others and helping others achieve success, especially in areas that you've achieved it yourself. And so of course, as I said, I have not achieved all of these. I'm very far from it, but I believe that it is useful information. Anyone can benefit from it. The fact that I haven't achieved it myself doesn't actually detract from it. It is because that would be discrediting the source, which is, if you know anything about philosophy and arguments, then you'll know that is not a viable argument. Anyway, you'll know that that is a fallacy. So let's check my notes. Most of these topics fall under health, wealth, mindset, and life setup, I would call it. So pretty much all-encompassing term would be men's lifestyle, and pretty much an all-encompassing term for all of this would be men's lifestyle and you could call it men's self-improvement if you wanted to. I don't really give a shit. Anyway, yeah, so I've created this YouTube channel to share my knowledge with as many men as possible and I would love, if I could improve the life of one man through this YouTube channel, it will be worth it for me, because that's one person who otherwise may not have achieved the greatness that they were capable of. So the first concept that I'd like to cover in this video is the concept the first concept that I would like to address in this video is what I call the system of bulking through all aspects of life. So if you're not too familiar with the gym and gym terms, a bulk is essentially where you will increase the amount of food that you're eating so that you can build more muscle. And generally the trade-off of that is you put on a bit more body fat. So it's not all of the extra food goes straight to your muscle. Some of it does go into fat. However, you obviously just burn the fat off later and reveal the muscle. So the concept of bulking in all aspects of life is essentially, I believe that the best way to go about things is to make a small sacrifice, for example, gaining a bit of body fat in the pursuit of muscle, to get long-term gains and long-term improvement in a certain aspect that you need to improve, that you'd like to become better at. So an example of this, if you want to increase your savings and the amount that you have invested, generally most people will cut back on the spending. They're spending less, so they'll be spending less, they'll be taking a slight dip in their lifestyle, slightly less luxurious, in the pursuit of being able to have that extra investment, that to be able to have those extra savings. That's not financial advice, by the way. So yeah, in a way that is bulking your finances. In a way, you are taking a temporary hit and experiencing a temporary negative in the fact of you might get worse quality groceries for a few months, so you can save some more money and put it aside. And essentially, you need to do that with all aspects of your life. Business, your career, for example, you need to cut back on the amount of socializing you do sometimes so that you can hone in and focus specifically on that one, that one report that you need to get out, that getting that product up and running, that making a YouTube channel I'm doing it to help other people. So my viewpoint is that you should, as I call it, bulk in all aspects of life until you're around the age of 30. This is a concept called the male advantage. This is a concept that was brought to fruition by a man called Chris Sturmey. He is a men's lifestyle YouTuber. He was a men's lifestyle YouTuber, still is, but he recently had a bit of a change in direction of his career, and so he's removed pretty much all of his YouTube videos from YouTube. Some people are reposting them, however, the majority of them are no longer available. And so I feel almost obligated, because that is such good advice, that I almost feel obligated to help share little bits and key takeaways that I've got from his advice over the years. So the male advantage is basically the concept that men peak around the age of 30 to 40, in that range. And that is because of a variety of factors. If you stay consistent in the gym, and you start at an earlier age, by the time you get to around 30, you're quite likely to have a very solid physique. It's basically you're gonna be in your prime physique-wise, because you will have 10 years of muscle building behind you. While obviously your physical fitness peak is in your 20s, you will come to the pinnacle, the top amount of muscle you'll ever have in your life, around the age of 30. And so that would be part of the male advantage, is enjoying the fruits of your labor around 30, when you have the most muscle. And so that also goes for your finances, because on average, men will be making the most money around age 30 to 40, and thus they will be the most successful in their life. Women also tend to go for men around their 30s and 40s, so it makes sense to almost build up your life and bulk in all aspects of life, as I put it, up until those 30s, so that you'll have the best possible position and the best possible life when you get to that male advantage, as Chris Sturmey has articulated in his videos. Again, I don't want to take any credit. The whole thing of the male advantage is completely Chris Sturmey's idea, first man's idea. Anyway, so that's the male advantage. And so I believe personally, this is one of my own concepts, that bulking in all areas of life is essential to have the best life possible, to have the perfect male life, as I would put it. Now, so what aspects should you be bulking in throughout your life? So I would say that the main sort of overarching topics are, this is my thoughts, it is appearance and health, mind and intellect, finances, your legacy, and your relationships. So appearance and health, obviously it's quite common in the men's lifestyle industry and the men's self-improvement industry that creators will promote fitness, health, good diet, healthy diet, strength, going to the gym, build muscle, all that sort of thing. So some of the little breakdowns that I have written here are looks, diet, strength, size, cardio, fashion, posture, and body language. So start with looks. So looks is what I would consider your facial appearance and how you dress as well. So fashion wise. So that covers things, and so that's going to influence how people perceive you at first glance, whether you are attractive. It also encompasses things such as water retention, your symmetry, your overall facial symmetry. Obviously my face is crooked, so it's not perfectly symmetrical. I am working on that. That is something you can improve on. Another aspect of that would be doing facial exercises to help build up the muscles around your jaw and face. That is something you can do. It also would incorporate your body fat percentage. Next up, we have diet. So I'm a strong proponent that you should have a clean and healthy diet, which is high protein. I would say you should have that for your entire life. There should be minimal cheat meals. Obviously you can have cheat meals, however, why would you? Because all you're doing is sacrificing your overall health and well-being for a bit of meaningless pleasure that only lasts about 10 seconds. I don't see it as worth it. I do not see cheat meals as worth the damage that they can do. They can just say you've just imagine a cigarette addict, imagine an alcohol addict. They've been working hard, they're trying to drop the addiction. They haven't had any alcohol in, let's say, 6 years. Let's say in 2 weeks. They've completely cut it out. If someone gave them a drink, that could reignite their addiction. So why would you have that? Why would you have that cheat meal? That could cause you to relapse and go back into your old ways, which are not good for you. So things that would be in a healthy diet include things such as raw meat. Yeah, raw meat, because that is actually more nutritious. Obviously, it is slightly less safe in terms of the parasites and things that can be in it. However, if you're buying it from a clean source or it's processed, it's so unlikely that you'll have anything like that. So you are actually going to have a better digestive experience and more nutrition from eating raw meat. It would also include things such as eggs, all sorts of whole foods, lots of vegetables, heaps of fruit. Just anything that's processed, don't touch it, essentially, because processed foods contain all sorts of additives. It's so hard to pick which foods that are processed don't have it. You have to literally go through every single thing, look on the nutrition information on the back of the tin or whatever. So you're best off only eating whole foods. They are what your body is designed to eat. So if you just imagine bread. Why would you eat bread when you could just eat rice? Sure, if it's a simple bread, sure. But things like white bread and super, like, stuff you get from a bakery, packed full of sugar, terrible for you. All sorts of different ingredients in it. It's just, you're better off having a whole food such as rice. You can also have beans if you want some carbs. Like, there's so many better options. You just stick to whole foods for your diet and you'll look better and feel better literally in one day. I swear to God, when I personally, when I switched to only whole foods, the next day I looked maybe like I'd lost about 1 to 2% body fat. I looked more vascular, my veins were popping on my muscles more when I was working out. It's just better, you feel better as well. Just stick to a whole food diet. High protein, around 2 grams of protein per pound, around 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is generally around the perfect range. whether you're bulking or cutting, that will ensure that you're getting enough protein intake to maintain muscle on a cut or build muscle on a bulk. So next we got strength. Strength, I think, is something that all men should incorporate into their lifestyle, because strength training will actually increase your testosterone levels, which will therefore increase your energy levels, which is another thing that you should work on and make sure you have high energy levels, because that will just improve all aspects of life. So your strength, that is generally, I would say you should focus more on your strength relative to your body weight. So that could be something like a 1.2 times body weight bench press, 1.5 times body weight squat, and 2 times body weight deadlift. I would say is about sort of the almost perfect ratio for most men. My bench press is about that, my squat is more than that, and my deadlift is also more than that. So I'd say that I've attained decent strength, and it improves all aspects of your life, because with the strength comes size, which is another aspect of the appearance and health topic which I mentioned. And that strength, it will instill confidence within you to go through life knowing that you have a capable physique and you're able to handle any physical issues that you have. If you need to move something, you can just lift it. You can push a car along down the road easily if it runs out of fuel. It makes life easier, really. Have you ever seen a woman trying to open a can of pickles? They need a man to do it, so you need to have that strength to be able to just pop it off. It's easy. So you need to increase your strength across your whole body. That includes your arms, that includes your legs especially. Do not skip legs. It includes your chest, your abdominals, or your whole body, your traps, your neck, your back, all of it, your shoulders. You need to strength train. I would recommend that when you start at the gym, you should do a strength training block. Ask a PT to design one for you. So that's going to be things such as like low sets. That's going to be like sets with low reps, but predominantly for strength training. And that's going to help you to recruit more muscle fibers and strengthen your tendons, which as you build more muscle will allow you to be able to keep safe and have a strong ability to recruit those muscle fibers and build more muscle as you go forward. So if you are a beginner or you haven't done a strength block yet, I would recommend your first thing you do in the gym should be a strength training sort of phase, because it'll allow you to have such a strong base to come off of and to improve your physique off of, and it will also allow you to gain a good knowledge of your limits physically with your strength, and also it'll allow you to learn how to use all of the machines in the gym and all the exercises in the gym. It's just do a strength block, trust me. Next thing is size. So that is your physical mass on your frame. So you need to, as a man, I believe that you should be in the gym for, I believe it was Socrates who said, it is a shame for a man to grow old without without realizing the strength of which his body is capable. Something along those lines. I'll pop it up on the screen. However, that quote cannot be more true. From a philosopher thousands of years ago in ancient Greece, in Athens, it rings true throughout history. Is such good advice. Your size and strength is so important. Your size will allow you to have more of a masculine presence, and more people will look up to you and look to you for leadership, which is something that you should want as a man, because men and masculinity is designed to lead society. And because men and masculinity are the leaders of society. Just look at even the women at the top of society. A lot of them are very masculine. That's not a bad thing, but it just proves that masculinity is supposed to be in the leadership role in regards to femininity. Next, we have your cardiovascular ability. This is actually something that I need to improve myself. Low intensity cardio I can do all day. However, medium to high intensity cardio, your cardiovascular endurance is something that you need to improve. It's so important in terms of vitality. And also, imagine you're in the middle of Africa. You're with a group of people. I'm not sure who said it, but if you're being chased by a lion, you only need to be faster than the slowest member of the group. So imagine you're out in Africa, and because you haven't been training cardio, you can't run for very long, and thus the lion will eat you. Not good. We don't want that. So, make sure you're training cardio so that you don't get eaten by lions, bro. Because without that cardio, that lion's going to catch you first, and then everyone else is going to survive, but you'll be dead because you didn't do your cardio. So you got to make sure you're doing it to improve your heart health and vitality and your longevity in life. It's so important, bro. Don't get eaten. Next up, we've got fashion. So fashion is something, it can be very personal. I would recommend that you should look for a fashion. You should look for a style that resonates with you and your personality, and you should stick to that style. And as you evolve, it will evolve, and that's okay. You don't need to keep up with all the trends. You don't need to pick a style and stick to it for the rest of your life. You just need to wear what you enjoy and what you feel confident wearing. And I would say that you are better off buying a quality t-shirt or a quality jumper that's going to last you a long time and will look better, because more expensive clothes do look better and fit you better. I would say that you should just figure out what looks good. Ask a woman that you're close with what she thinks that you should wear, because women, they know their shit, bro. So don't discount the opinion of women around you. Like, if you have a girlfriend, ask her for fashion advice, bro, if you're not sure, because she'll be able to explain it to you better. And this is something that I'll go over later on in future videos, is fashion, because I think a lot of men struggle with fashion and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they end up looking like clowns. Honestly, I'll put some photos up on screen of some men that you can tell they tried, but they just did not hit. And yeah, it's not it. So I'll show you some photos. Anyway, next topic, posture. You need to improve your posture, mate. I don't care who you are, your posture is always going to have some sort of issues, whether it's the way you hold your head when you're walking, the way you hold your back and your scapula retracted and your chest up. It's so important to work on good posture, because that could literally be what kills you. It's so important for longevity. Same with stretching. Things like stretching and posture, they seem so medial, and you wouldn't really think that they would have a lasting effect. However, posture, think about it this way. If you're standing around, you know that stand where they'll be standing calm and relaxed, and they're just standing still. They'll sort of lean onto one leg and stick their ass out the other side, and it just doesn't really, yeah, it's more comfortable, but think about the way that it alters the way your whole body is position because you're leaning on that one leg. So your hips are pointed to that side of that leg, which means that your hips are like there, which means that your back's going to be curved like that, and then the top of you is going to be curved back like that. It's not good for long-term longevity, and you need to improve your posture. I'll do a whole guide just for you to explain good posture and how you can improve your posture and some exercises. So keep an eye out for that video because that will be very important information. Next thing is body language. This sort of goes hand in hand with posture. Posture is definitely a big part of body language because think about it. If you're sitting at a cafe, if you're hunched over on your phone or reading the menu even, trying to figure out what you want to order, if you're hunched over, legs close together, arms crossed, reading the menu, a passerby is going to think you're a bitch, bro. It doesn't matter. You could be 6'6", fucking handsome as shit, but you're still going to look sad and depressed and lonely. Body language is so important. It could mean the difference between you landing that new job and you missing it in the interview. If you walk in, you look sort of shaky and nervous, the interviewer is going to look down on you and they're going to see you in a negative light. However, if you walked in confident as hell, if you walked in all confident, chest up, handshake straight away, firm handshake because you've been working on your strength, big masculine presence because you've been working on your size as well, well dressed, you've got your fashion on point, your posture's good, you look well put together, your hair is on point. My hair's I need a haircut. And yeah, your diet's good, so you don't have much water retention in your face. That interviewer is going to look at you and they're going to think, this is the guy that I want to hire because I can tell that he is very well put together and he looks very good. And that body language of you walking in confidently, knowing that you deserve that job and showing that and presenting that to the world is going to mean the difference between you getting it and you missing it. Because if you walk in there and you don't look confident, they're going to think that you don't think you deserve that job. So they're going to selection bias is going to cause them to look for reasons why you don't deserve the job. However, if you are very confident, you show that you believe it, their selection bias again is they're gonna look for reasons why you're so confident and why you deserve that job. Bang! That is appearance and health done. So there will be YouTube videos coming out on all of those and diving really deep, full guides into all of them, basically explaining how you can improve each of those sections. Next one is mind and intellect. So mind and intellect, it covers a variety of things: clarity, peace, intellect, knowledge, wisdom, and ethics. So the first one, clarity. So that includes things such as having a clear mindset and knowing exactly what you want in life, and being able to make a split decision and know that that is what you want. It's sort of having a strong mind goes hand in hand with clarity, because if you have a high degree of clarity, you're going to know exactly what you want, and you're going to be able to, as I said, make decisions based on that without having to second guess yourself every 2 seconds, wondering, oh, I don't know if I want hot chocolate or coffee this morning. You're just going to walk in there, fuck, hot chocolate, done. Skinny milk, done. Bang. Don't even need to think about it because you've been working on your diet and your fitness and your cardio, and thus you're trying to get your body fat down, so you're having less calories in your milk. Skinny fat, bang. You don't even need to think about it because your clarity is on point and you know what you want. The next one, peace. So peace, it's a very broad topic, really. It covers things such as being at peace with yourself. I know that sounds very woo-woo, very bitchy, but you do need to have peace with yourself, because if you're conflicted and you're not happy with who you are, then you have work to do, and you need to work to achieve that peace and that confidence. And you don't need to, you can have peace without having what you want in life, but And you can have peace without having exactly all the things you want in life, because peace and contentment aren't the same thing. Contentment is tied and linked to desire and what you desire in life. However, peace is being okay with your current situation, knowing that you will be able to make it out, and having confidence in yourself to be able to change things if you believe that they're not how you want them to be. So your intellect is the next one. So essentially, you need to improve your intellect and your ability to learn. You need to you can improve your IQ. You need to I think that the best way to improve your intellect is through education. That could be traditional education, such as university. It could be taking lots of online courses, watching these YouTube videos, finding a community of like-minded individuals that you can feed off of and rewire your brain to be in a more beneficial state than it already was. One practice that I would recommend to improve your intellect is to use the creative part of your brain as well as the reasoning part, because if you neglect that creative muscle in your brain, you're not going to be able to use it anymore, because it'll atrophy like any other muscle. You need to practice it, do repetitions, get a journal, write down 10 business ideas every day. Then you'll practice that creative muscle, and soon enough, you'll just be walking around in public and you'll just be bang, business idea, bang, new business idea, bang, business idea there, bang, business idea. The world's your oyster, mate. You'll figure out that you can do anything you want, and you'll see opportunities everywhere you go. As for the education side of things, I believe that as a man, you should strive to achieve a level of education that is above the average. So in Australia, I would say that should be at least a bachelor's degree if you're going to go down the traditional education path, because I think it's around 70% of Australians do not have bachelor's degrees. So that will put you in the top 30%. You'll be at around about a 7 out of 10 in the education if you took that traditional path of education. Obviously, it's harder to speak for untraditional because there's less quantifiable metrics and examples of what percentage of the population has said education. I think another one which ties into our next topics is philosophy. I think philosophy, it's important, because without it, how can you have a strong ethical standpoint, and how can you know how to go through life without thinking about what the right thing to do is? I would recommend that you start with ancient philosophy and you learn to understand the thoughts and the wisdom of ancient philosophers, and then as you go, you should compile this knowledge of philosophy and gradually make your way through to modern philosophy, and then you'll be able to see the progression of human thought and incorporate what you think is important into your life and into your personal ethical framework, which is another thing I believe you should have. So this is the ethics topic in here. I believe that all men should have a sort of rule book, almost, a strong ethical framework that they follow in everything that they do. That could just be rules for yourself. You'll never do this, you'll never do this, you'll never do this. If given an opportunity, you will always take it. That could be something like that. I believe a strong ethical framework which is thought out and well contemplated is something that all men should have. And you should strive to never break it, because if you can't be true to yourself and stay true to that ethical framework which you've contemplated so carefully and you believe in fully, then you're a joke. You're not a real man if you can't even stay true to yourself and promise yourself something and keep the promise. The next thing is wisdom. Wisdom is, it's not easy to acquire. I believe that the fastest way to acquire wisdom is to learn from the mistakes of others around you and learn from history. This is why it's important not to discount history and human history and political history, because by analyzing what's been successful throughout history, you can gain a level of wisdom and understanding of how people are, how human nature works, and where you'll be able to recognize, for example, pretty obvious one, but if it weren't for Hitler, I'm sure there'd be less people out there that instantly recognize that fascism and genocide are bad. Because, bit of a noise outside. Because wisdom's something that you acquire throughout your life as time goes on. You learn more and more, and you come to a stronger understanding of the world. I believe that history and the failures of others around you are a great way that you can learn what the right thing to do is in situations. Because without that wisdom, it goes back to the philosophy example. You can't know how to make good decisions. Without wisdom, you cannot make good decisions. Full stop. Without just blind luck, you cannot make good decisions without wisdom, because to be wise is to have an understanding and be able to realize when something is good or something is bad. And that is so important as a man, because without wisdom, how can you lead? How can you be a decision maker? How can you be in your masculine frame and have any sort of good control over those who you are leading? And how can you care and nurture those who you're leading and ensure that they have what they need and ensure that they are happy and that they have a good life? Because without that wisdom, you're going blind. You don't understand what you're doing. The next overall topic is finances. So I just want a bit of a disclaimer. None of what I say on this channel is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Do not listen to what I am saying. Got that out the way. I hope you heard that. So your income. I would honestly say it's probably less important than the rest of the topics on here, because your income does not necessarily define your financial situation. If you can be intelligent and smart with your money, financial intelligence is something that you can gain through YouTube, you can gain it through courses, you can gain it through education. There's so many different ways to increase your financial intelligence, and I believe that everyone should make an effort, especially if you know that you have the ability to educate yourself financially. Because without that financial intelligence, how can you leave something for your heirs? How can you build an investment portfolio? How can you plan into the future financially? How can you understand what you're doing with your finances? You need to make an effort. If you haven't already, make an effort ASAP to improve your financial literacy and your financial intelligence. So back to income. Obviously, having a high income is going to be better for your finances. However, if you are smart with your money, you don't even need the high income to be good. You don't even need the high income to be wealthy, because wealth and rich are different things. Wealth is the preservation of money. However, if someone's rich, in my mind at least, someone being rich is someone with a very high income, and it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with wealth. Generally, people who are wealthy are also rich. However, not all rich people are wealthy. Look at rappers, for example, and elite sports stars. A lot of them, they don't have a long-term mindset. They see it as, oh, I'm being paid $1 million a year. That means that I'm able to spend $1 million a year and I won't go under. However, someone who has a long-term mindset and is going to become wealthy or is wealthy will understand, okay, I have $1 million a year. That means that I probably shouldn't spend it all, because if this income ceases, then I'm going to have $0 left. So they're going to have a long-term mindset with things, and they're going to make an effort to make sure that their fortune persists and that they don't lose all of their money. And the next thing in the finances section is freedom. Financial freedom, it's sort of become a buzz term in the YouTube self-improvement space. Financial freedom is purely the ability to make money without dependency on an employer or anyone else giving the money to you. You don't need to receive the weekly paycheck, because you are bringing it in for yourself. You don't work for someone, you work for yourself. So that could be starting a business. It could be doing freelancing, anything that's not tied to the traditional money-making scheme, essentially. And financial freedom, I think, is very important for men, because how can you be in control of your life if you don't have control over the one resource that allows you to live? You need money in this Western society. You need money to live and to have a good life, which is unfortunate. However, you have to live with it, and you have to rise above and become the best you can be. Next, we have passive income and passive income streams. So this is hard to talk about, just because obviously there is very strict laws and it's very regulated financial advisory. So I can't actually give you advice on this. However, I believe that passive income it can be the difference between having that financial freedom and not having it, because it could allow you an extra $10,000 a month to just live how you like to live and do whatever you want to do with your life, and you don't even need to work. It could literally spell the difference between your happiness and your misery, because if you're working in that shitty corporate job that you hate, making say $100,000 a year, that could, if you can be smart with your money and you can get to a point where you're making enough passive income to support your lifestyle, suddenly all the work you do doesn't have to be what pays you and what allows you to live your lifestyle. Because if you have enough passive income that you can live off of it 100%, you don't need any further income. You can literally just pursue fulfillment in life and learn to enjoy work and your work, and you can literally just do what you enjoy. Next up, we have investments. Again, something I cannot really talk about because it's sort of walking the line of financial advice. So investments are important. I would say everyone should make an effort to create a investment portfolio, because you're better off putting money into an investment account which will beat inflation than keeping it in a bank account. Usually, that's not financial advice, by the way. Don't do that. Don't listen to me. But that is because sitting in a bank account, it's literally the amount of money, while it may stay $1,000, it will be able to buy only around $950 worth of products the following year due to inflation sitting due to inflation. And by investing your money, you will be able to beat that inflation and ensure that you're making money through your investment while also maintaining the purchasing power of that money. I'm not sure how deep I can get into it in this video. I'll do some more research around the financial advisory laws before I make a further follow-up video specifically on investments. However, do your own research, go to a financial advisor, seek investment advice from a certified professional, and begin building your investment portfolio. Savings. So savings is something that's very important, because if you're not saving money and you don't have anything set aside, if something happens, you will be screwed. You won't be able to get yourself out of a hole. Just say there's a massive financial crisis, global financial crisis, the second, 2.0, 2008, the second. Suddenly, you've lost your job, you have no income, and you have no savings. You've got $0 to your name, your net worth is zero. You're fucked. Literally, you are fucked, because you didn't think to put some money aside in case of an emergency to allow yourself to continue living your lifestyle. You should have at least 6 months saved in an emergency fund savings account, so that should something happen, you'll be able to support yourself at your current lifestyle for 6 months. That's all I'm saying there, because again, I'm not 100% sure on what the financial advisory laws are. I'll have a look into them before I speak further, and I will do a follow-up video. The next overarching topic is legacy. So legacy includes things such as personal achievement, interpersonal achievement, global and communal impact, your heirs, creating heirlooms, and helping the next generation of men. So I believe that helping the next generation of men is something that's important for all men to do, because how can you leave society without making an effort to ensure its future success, without passing on valuable knowledge and insights to the next generation of leaders? They won't know how to lead. That could spell the end of society. If you're not educating the youth will look for education in themselves, and they'll try to figure the world out themselves, which isn't good, because they're not wise. They don't know what they're doing. You need to, as a man, you need to ensure that you're educating your children, the people around you, people on YouTube like this. You need to ensure that you're educating them on life in general, and instilling wisdom and knowledge in them, because they are the people and the leaders of tomorrow. They need to be prepared well. For example, how Marcus Aurelius, when his father died, Marcus was too young in his father's eyes to lead the Empire of Rome. So what his father did was he got some of his most trusted counsel and some of his most trusted senators to literally lead the Roman Empire and to be the emperor of the empire until Marcus was ready. So Marcus literally had these mentors who trained him on politics, on ethics, on philosophy, so that by the time he was ready, he would be able to be the perfect emperor, which a lot of people believe he was one of the best. And that's a prime example of how instilling wisdom and knowledge into the next generation of leaders is so beneficial, because Marcus Aurelius was such a sensational emperor and had such a grand impact on all of society, really, in the future after him, that I believe that without Marcus Aurelius, the world genuinely would be different to how it is today. Next, we have heirs and heirlooms. So you need to ensure that you have heirs, because if you don't choose who you're going to leave your legacy to, it cannot continue on. Even if it was only money, you need to ensure that you've outlined who you would like your wealth to go to, because otherwise it will just be claimed by the state and it will not go to anyone in particular. So you have to ensure that your heirs they are the sort of people that will carry on the legacy that you would like for yourself, because you never get to see your legacy come to fruition. It's the story that people tell of you beyond the grave. You need to ensure that you have heirs in place. You need to make sure that you leave a lasting impact on the community and the world at whole, if you want to, so that once you've died, people still remember your name and people talk about you. Because without those heirs, they don't even necessarily have to be your children. They could be just a community of friends that you have. They could be your heirs. You just have to ensure that there is someone who will carry on your legacy once you're gone, because otherwise your legacy dies with you. If you don't have heirs, your legacy dies with you. That's terrible. You need to leave a lasting impact on the community, the people around you, and the world at large. One way you can do this is heirlooms, I believe. You need to create heirlooms. For example, watches. Get some nice watches and hand them on to your children once you're gone, because things like that, it's a material memory essentially of you and your legacy. Even a painting, maybe something that it's tangible. People can hold it, and it represents you and your legacy. Because without heirlooms, you'll be lost by memory. You'll be lost in memory. You will, obviously, the people that knew you will remember you. However, in a few generations' time, no one will remember your name. They might see it written down somewhere. However, they won't know who you are and what your character was like. So I think it's important to leave heirlooms, because they can be a representation of who you are and what you believed, and there can be a reminder of your legacy and your past and your life and who you were as a person. Because whilst they are just items and products and material goods, they can be so much more than that. They can hold meaning. They can be representative of things. You need to create heirlooms. It makes sense. Just think about it. The next thing is achievement. So this, I believe, is personal and interpersonal. Personal achievements are things such as a PR in the gym. Maybe a personal achievement could be just doing something that doesn't really matter to anyone else, but to you it is a big deal. So it could be, for someone trying to lose weight, having a week where they do not eat anything. They stick to their diet 100%. They could see personal achievement in the fact that they managed to go without having any cheat meals that week. Anything could be a personal achievement. Anything that makes you proud of yourself is a personal achievement. And I believe this is one of the best ways to increase your self-esteem as a man, which is it's so important for your confidence. Because without good self-esteem, without a sense of achievement in yourself, you can't have true confidence, and you can't have a high degree of self-worth and self-confidence, because it's all of it is linked together. And I believe that increasing the amount of personal achievement you feel is a great way for men to improve their overall life and their overall feelings about themselves. And I believe as a man you should have that confidence, because how else can you do what you need to do in life without that confidence in yourself? So there's also interpersonal achievements. This is things such as entering a competition against other people and achieving and showing that you are an outlier in certain aspects of life. An interpersonal achievement is just anything that someone else can, outside of yourself, can recognize an achievement and congratulate you for, and something that something that your mother would feel proud of you for, if that makes sense. Something that people could look up to you for, something that you've achieved. It could be a recognition or an award or a certificate maybe, or winning a competition, as I mentioned, or even just placing in a competition, something like that. I think you understand what I mean. You'd be a smart person if you're this deep into this video. I think that you're the type of person that is very switched on. You want to improve your life, and I'm very grateful that you've watched all this way in. So, lastly, in the legacy section, we have global and communal impact. Communal impact is things such as the way that you affect your local community, your friend groups, your institutions that you're a part of, your town, your city, even just things like that. It's a local scale, and it's the good that you do there and the way that you improve that community that you're a part of, and how you can have a positive impact on the local, the people around you in the locality. It's so important for your legacy, because if you don't have any impact on the people around you, they won't be grateful, and they'll be less likely to carry on your legacy. So even if it's just making people laugh, that's having a communal impact on your friend group. You have to ensure that you have communal impact in life, because without it, your legacy will be lost. And global impact, that not everyone needs to achieve global impact. It's not for everyone. A lot of people will see it as pointless. However, personally, for me, this isn't advice. This is just my own opinion. I believe that I would like to improve the lives of men around the world, and spread the message that I believe is true, to have a global impact and help as many men around the world as possible, because there's so many men out there with untapped potential that just don't even realize they have it within themselves. I feel compelled to help other men achieve even just what I've achieved, and my results, they're so far from what I will achieve. I'm only in the beginning stages of my overall improvement journey and my holistic lifestyle improvement. I believe that global impact is very important, and creating change in the global community and environment for the better, and having a positive impact on the world. It's just find a way to make your mark in the universe, and to leave a legacy of positive change to the world, so that the world will carry on your legacy. Because if you can leave a positive impact around the world, it can't be lost, because suddenly there's millions of people with access to your impact that are impacted by you, and so your legacy is going to be carried on by those millions of people. That's millions of lives that you've affected and positively impacted. I think there's no greater thing than that. I would give my life to be able to have a positive global impact, and by that I don't mean like die for it. I probably would, but by give my life, I mean dedicate my life. So next up we have relationships. This is the last section of this video. So relationships includes partners, your inner circle, family and friends, and enemies. So I think I'll cover enemies first. So I believe that a successful man should not have enemies, because having hatred towards someone is such a boyish and childish mentality. It shows a lack of maturity. I believe that if someone wrongs you, you should be able to forgive them and look them in the eye and shake their hand. And you shouldn't hold resentment for people, because that it's only resentment which can draw you back in the world, really. If you resent no one, you go into every social interaction thinking that you can only gain, and you only do gain because you can't be negatively affected by people by showing zero resentment. Because if you show resentment, then suddenly you might discredit someone else's good idea that could be the difference between you having a good life and not. It's so important not to have enemies and not to create enemies as well. Do not go out and create enemies, you dumb fuck. Do not go out in the world and create enemies. It is just not worth it. It's not worth it. And if someone wants to create an enemy of you, you're better off just cutting them out and not talking to them, because it's only going to bring negative energy into yourself, and it's something that you need to avoid and ensure that you don't get trapped up in, because negative energy can destroy your life. It can take away all of your motivation and your ability to succeed. You need to just do not create enemies. Only foster positive and meaningful relationships with people. Don't pay attention to those negative ones. Just ignore them and let them fizzle out. The next one is partners. So partners, I think it's important to find a life partner. I believe that intercourse is something that it should be reserved for someone who truly has the same energy as yourself, because when you have that, when you give yourself to someone, you're giving part of your soul, I believe, to them. You lose some of yourself and you exchange it with them. So if you're doing that with someone who's a lower vibrational wavelength as you, you're going to be negatively impacted by that, and it's just not worth it. You should only foster relationships like that with partners who you both have the same mindset and you both see eye to eye, and it's positive. And I believe that a life partner it's one of the biggest decisions you can make, but also one of the most important you can make in life. And personally, I think I probably will not have another relationship until I find that the one, as they say, because I believe that I don't see the point, because it can't be, no relationship will be as good as the one once I find her out there, because that's enough of that. The next topic is your inner circle. I believe it's very important to foster an inner circle, especially before you find success. Obviously, it's not impossible to build that inner circle once you have success. However, it is harder, because how can you know if someone is there just to take some of your success, or if they're actually there for you? I believe that having an inner circle who you can confer with and who are like-minded individuals, I think it is so important, because you need your group of men around you that will propel you forward into the world and ensure that you as a group are successful. I think that an inner circle is so important, because you need to have allies who you can face the world with, who it doesn't matter if it could be the whole world against you 4 or you 5 or whatever the number is. It could be anything against you, and you need to be able to have that confidence that your group will prevail, your inner circle will come out victorious, because I think that is so valuable. It's just, you need to ensure you have that inner circle, and if you can't find people that are of value like that around you, you need to wait, and you need to put yourself into scenarios and environments with those people so you can foster that inner circle, because otherwise you're going at it alone, and I don't think that that's a very fulfilling way to go about life. I think that you should have people around you at all times, and people who are supportive of you at all times. Next, we have family. It's so important to foster family. Do not let them... It's always family first, as they say, and I believe that your inner circle are part of your family. It is so important to foster a good relationship with your family. Your inner circle is part of your family. You can never turn your back on family. It's just, It's vital. And if you don't have family, you can build family. You can build a family in the traditional sense, but you can also foster meaningful and loving relationships with people and create that feeling of family, because it's so important in life to have people who care unconditionally for you, who you also care unconditionally for. It's vital. It's vital. Lastly, we have friends. So friends, I would not consider your inner circle part of your friends. Your inner circle would count as family. However, friends are people who you might bond over a hobby with, people who you might interact with at work, who you're not very close, but you get along and you enjoy each other's company. And friends are not people that you should be sharing everything you do in your life with. However, you can seek advice from them, and you can engage in meaningful conversation with them. And I believe it's so important to have friends, because if you don't talk to more and more people throughout your life and create new meaningful relationships, how can you grow as a person and come to greater understanding about the world and become a wiser individual? I think friends are so important for that, because they allow such a greater interconnected network of people that you can interact with. And I believe that's one of the best ways you can do that. Anyway, so that is all you need to do, and all the areas you need to improve to get a perfect life, as I'll put it. So if you can improve all of the areas that we mentioned in this video, I believe you'd almost have a perfect life, and you could just pursue your own fulfillment and come to a point in life where you're happy to die. You could just pursue fulfillment and self-actualization and come to a point in life where you are truly fulfilled and happy with your situation. I will do more videos on all of these, full guides on how to improve all of them. I don't want to charge you anything. I'm not going to sell you anything through this YouTube channel. That's not the point. I just want this to be a free medium through which I can convey my knowledge and my understanding of the men's lifestyle industry and self-improvement, and help spread it to more and more people, because there's so many bad characters in this industry that it can be hard to know if someone's actually giving genuine advice or if they are just trying to sell you something. So I believe that the best way I can prove myself for that is just to not sell you anything. Anything I ever put out will be free. I don't want to charge for my knowledge and information I have, because I believe it's so much more valuable than any price I could put on, and everyone should be able to know it and gain access to it. So thank you for watching this video. That is all you need to know to get to a perfect life. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.